All right, Bears fans, coming up on today's show, I got 5 reasons why the Bears must fire Matt Eberflus, but I want your voices to be heard first. Hit that like button if you think Flus should be fired. Not sure what the Bears are waiting for other than it being a short week. Hit that like button if you agree with me. Today's episode of Chicago Bears Now is sponsored by Hexclad. The best kitchen cookware in the game is Hexclad. Go check them out right now. Hexclad.com/chatsports gets you 10% off at checkout. My name is Harrison Graham, and look, it's not even a question in my eyes, but clearly it is for the Bears. I think Matt Eberflus needs to go. The evidence continues to pile up on why the Bears need to fire their head coach. And if you don't think there's enough evidence, well, I've got 5 pieces of information which I think is more than enough evidence to move on from this guy. Number 1, his defense stinks, and he's a defensive-minded head coach who is now calling the defensive plays as well. This team continues to set bad records on the defensive side of the football. The Bears are the only team in the history of the NFL to lose 14 straight games and allow 25 or more points in all 14 of those losses. By the way, they were the only team to have accomplished that through 12 consecutive losses, and they've done it for 2 more games. That's not what you're looking for. And if you're going to sit there and say, well, okay, maybe it's just because of last year, right? The defense wasn't good last year. It's better this year. Is it? I mean, look at the numbers. The numbers do not lie. You're 27th in total defense. You're 31st in scoring defense. You're 29th in passing defense. I'll give slight credit. The run defense has been serviceable. It's still not good, but it's not bad. You're 18th there. And you're dead last in third down defense, giving up almost 60% conversion rate. You cannot get off the field on third down. The defense stinks. You're a defensive-minded head coach. There's no creativity. 2 sacks in 4 games? I mean, that is laughable. Nicholas Morrow had 3 sacks yesterday. He's not even a blitzer. He was on your team last year. Guy had 3 sacks yesterday. Khalil Mack had 6 sacks yesterday. You had 2 all year. It's just not good enough. Number 2, Matt Eberflus lacks institutional control, and I'll just simplify what I mean there. He is not a good leader. He does not have a full scope of what's going on. And let's just use the Chase Claypool debacle yesterday and on into this morning as a perfect example. And there's been numerous instances of this when you see him talk with the media. But the last 20-ish hours or so with this Claypool situation, which, by the way, I'm not excusing Claypool for anything. I'm talking about the handling of the Claypool situation. This was the Q&A between reporters and Matt Eberflus after the game yesterday. Was Claypool here today? He was not here. Did you guys tell him to stay home? No. He chose to stay home? Matt Eberflus says, no, he chose, what are you asking? Why was he not at the stadium today like the other inactive players? I'm not sure. So it's his choice? Matt Eberflus. We asked him, or we told him that it was a choice and he's at home right now. Okay, I have thoughts on that in a second. Do you anticipate him still being with the team? Was this a 1-week inactive thing, or is he going to be on thin ice for a while? Yes, I anticipate that, which I don't know which one he's answering there. I think he's answering the first part of that question. So you expect him in the building tomorrow? Yeah. Okay, we're going to get to this morning in just a second, but my main takeaway from that is he's like either lying to the media or he's second-guessing himself because he got confused, clearly, at some point, which I don't know why. They were pretty straightforward answers. And the idea that you would give a player a choice to not show up is absolutely ridiculous. It is standard protocol for inactive players to go to games. Now, if there is a reason, like if he is a distraction, then yeah, you tell him to stay home. But he clearly did not have a straight answer there. He either didn't know or he was misleading the media, whatever the case may be, not good. So then what happens? Well, just minutes after that press conference ends, the Bears spokesperson, I'm getting fired up here, walks into the media room and says, hey, we're clarifying things. Eberflus slipped up, whatever. He was told to stay home, that being Chase Claypool. Okay, so who do we believe? Do we believe Flus, who said they gave him the choice, or do we give this spokesperson who said he was told to stay home because that's probably a slightly better look than a head coach giving a player the opportunity to show up to work or not. You could talk me into either one if I'm being completely honest. All right, so let's play. Let's have a little fun here. Hey, Flus, why the mix-up yesterday? I'm being ESPN 1000 here. Well, here's Matt Eberflus on ESPN 1000 this morning for his weekly appearance. After an emotional game, I was not clear on what transpired there. We did ask Chase to stay home. We felt it was in the best interest of the team. Dude, you are the head coach. You can't sit up there and say, I got caught up in the emotions. That's for players. Players are allowed to do that. You are the leader of this football team. At least you're supposed to be. You got caught up in the emotions, so you weren't clear what transpired there. It's not hard to go up there and say, hey, Chase is not meeting our expectations. He's inactive today. We asked him to stay home for today's game because we think he's a distraction right now. Just say it. It's not that hard to do, but he's so bad in these situations. But I don't even know if that is the case. Here's what happened. One of these three scenarios is the case. Number one, he lied to the media. Very possible. Number two, he's actually out of the loop. He literally said, I wasn't sure what transpired there. Did Ryan Poles make that decision and not communicate with Matt Eberflus? I don't know if that's a worse look on Poles or Flus if that's the case. You're the head coach and you're out of the loop in week 4. That's not good. Or it's number 3, and he's just incapable of handling situations that I won't even call it crisis management. This is basic stuff. Like I said, hey, Chase isn't meeting expectations. We didn't like some of the comments he made this week. He's not producing on the field. He's inactive. We asked him to stay home. Or if Chase actually did get the option to stay home, he chose not to come to work today. But regardless of what those 3 options I laid out for what happened, none of them were good. It's a lack of leadership. It's a lack of control of your football team. Just an absolute debacle. More thoughts on Flus, plus I think a clear resolution to this Claypool situation coming up, but a rare positive on today's show, and that is Hex Clad, guys. I was fired up yesterday. I was pissed off, and the only thing that was going to make me feel better was a nice home-cooked meal with Hexclad cookware because they are the best in the game. It's time to talk about your kitchen, folks. Hexclad has revolutionized the cookware industry with a hybrid pan that gives you all of the convenience and cleanup of nonstick, the versatility of your grandma's cast iron, and a lifetime warranty just in case you find a way to destroy them. Go to hexclad.com/chatsports to get 10% off right now. They truly check every single box when it comes to picking your cookware. They are metal utensil safe, dishwasher safe, and oven safe up to 500 degrees. Don't take my word for it. Celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay uses them at home too. By the way, Kitchen Nightmares is back, and I can't wait to watch it. He says the sear I get with these pans is incredible with absolutely no stick. The temperature control is utter perfection, and the cleanup is effortless. I love using Hexclad at home. They're also just great-looking pans, sexiest pans on the market, if you ask me. Score points at home right now. Stop ordering out and start cooking like a big boy with Hexclad. Real cuisine isn't made in the microwave. It's cooked in a Hexclad pan. So get started today. Go shop today. Hexclad.com/chatsports. 10% off with that link. Hexclad.com/chatsports. Link is in the comments and in the description. These things are just rock solid. Hexclad.com/chatsports. All right, back to Eberflus and the debacle with Chase Claypool. So, okay, what's happening now with Chase? He was asked. Well, he's not going to be in the building this particular week on the short week. I can give you that. So, number one, Claypool's done in Chicago. I think that's pretty clear. They're going to try and trade him. I don't know if anyone will trade for him. They might just end up cutting him. Who knows? But that experiment, I would say, is 99% done. Sure, there's always the slight chance something changes, but I just don't think that is the case here. But number two with this situation, it's just such evidence that Eberflus can't lead. He can't handle situations. We see it all the time. Like he looks befuddled when he's asked questions sometimes. And then he's during training camp, like the whole we're not going to discuss injuries at all. It's like, why, man? Like, what is the issue? When I hear that guy talk, I'm not inspired. That's the bottom line. And I can't imagine players are either. So I thought he handled the Claypool situation very poorly, and that is just one of many examples. Now, who would you hire to replace Matt Eberflus? You're Ryan Poles. You're Kevin Warren. You decide to move on from Flus. Who are you hiring to replace him? Let us know in the comments. I did a Matt Eberflus replacements video last week with some interesting names. Go subscribe and check it out if you haven't already. Okay, still more evidence to get through here. Number 3 of why you should fire Matt Eberflus. You just can't win. Way too much losing under Eberflus. Just look at these numbers. I mean, they're mind-boggling. 0-4 start to this year. I led with that one because I do want to give some benefit of the doubt of what last year became. It was a clear teardown, rebuild. Your roster was not adequate. I gave Flus and this staff the benefit of the doubt in the offseason. Hey, you've added some talent. Go be competitive this year, and then in 2024, hopefully you're a contender. Oh, you're 0-4, and you've only been close in one game, and in that one game, you blew a 21-point lead to the only team in the NFL that's better than you, in the Denver Broncos. Okay, you're 3-18 overall. Again, I just said I gave a bit of a pass for last year, but when you start this year 0-4, it almost is like, well, maybe you don't deserve a pass for last year because you still can't win, which means you don't know how to win. You're 1-8 in one-score games, can't win close games. You've lost 14 games in a row, which is not easy to do in the NFL at all. And that is 343 days without a win. We are approaching a calendar year without a Chicago Bears victory. That's unbelievable. Like, at some point, you have to win a game. Like, it's not about the process. It's not about, getting closer, which we're going to talk about some brutal quotes from Flus in a minute. At some point, these players need to feel a win. And, yes, the players should hold accountability too. It's not all on Matt Eberflus, but he's the head coach. You're 3-18, bro. You're 0-4 this year. You have the worst win percentage in the history of any coach in this franchise. It's not good. It's not good at all. Will the Bears win another game under Matt Eberflus? I think that's a real question, because if you lose in Washington this week, you got a mini bye week. It could be the end of the road. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Will the Bears win another game under Matt Eberflus? Let us know what you guys think. All right, a couple more here. Number 4. Eberflus is completely tone deaf. It's actually painful to listen to at times. And what I mean is just a couple of examples here. Brutal Flus quotes just in the last week or two. After the Chiefs game, the next Monday, not literally after the presser after the game like the second one is, but the one on the next Monday. We're close. Dude, really? You just lost 41-10. You're 0-3 at that point. You're not close to anything. And then after the Broncos game, he actually said this part this morning. Yesterday, he said, we have, there was a lot of good in there. Dude, you blew a 21-point lead to the second worst team in the NFL at home and lost in the final quarter. And then this morning, took a big step yesterday, and then he added, we have to build on that momentum. You lost. What momentum? The momentum is you blew a 21-point lead in less than 20 minutes of game action and fell to 0-4 and lost a 14th straight game. You don't have momentum. I'm sorry. You don't. As good as Justin Fields played and as good as things looked at time, you think Fields drove home last night and was like, man, I feel really good about how I played? No, he drove home thinking we just blew a 21-point lead and I had a couple late game turnovers and we lost again. There's no momentum. Read the room. Fans aren't stupid. You deserve to, you should respect your fan base more. It's tone deaf. He's absolutely tone deaf when it comes to this stuff. Okay, behind the scenes, you want to communicate to that team, hey guys, we're close, we're on the verge, fine. You can't say it publicly though. It's just a bad look. Join us this afternoon. We'll be live on the channel. Myself, producer Rolly, 4 Eastern, 3 Central time. If it ends up being a little later, that's why I turn on the notification. Sometimes we'll be going live at 4 Central on Mondays and Thursdays. Just depends on how the workday goes. So I can promise you this, we will be live. So be sure to subscribe and join us. Last one here, and maybe the most important, lack of player development, right? A lot of Flus's principles are effort and hard work and maximizing individual talent. Do you see that? I don't see players getting maximized here. What players that the Bears have brought in have taken legitimate step forward? Seriously. I think Braxton Jones last year was a good example of one. That's probably one. 5th round rookie who looks at least like a serviceable left tackle. I think that's pretty good. But overall, free agents are a great example. What free agent has come in here and played better than the place they last came from? I can't think of one. Seriously, I cannot think of a single one. And let me just say this too. Chase Claypool is the number one person to blame on why he's failed here. But the coaches didn't do him any favors. I actually agreed with what Claypool said, saying I'm not being used properly. Now, should he have said it? No, because you've been a disaster since you've come here. But he's not wrong. They're asking him to be basically just a blocker. That's not what he is. So the point is, it's like you're not developing. Players are not taking big steps forward under this coaching staff, and that more than anything else is why you should fire a coach. If you're not improving individually and collectively, then the coach isn't good enough. That's the bottom line. So I would have done it this morning. I know you're on a short week, but you lose to Washington Thursday. I know the Bears have never fired a coach midseason, but you got to feel like it's at least on the table at that point. And you do wonder what Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles are thinking up to this point in time. All right, guys, tough times, but we're going to be here for all of it. I'm going to be on Twitter tweeting about it, at HGramNFL. Appreciate all the love and support to the channel. You guys have been awesome, even though the team has not. Rolly and I really appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon. Bear down.